This is the final exam practice exam, page 2, beginning with number 25 and going to number 35. In 25, Gene has $35. He will earn more than $80 next week. He will use all his money to buy clothes, which number line shows all the possible amounts of money in dollars he will have after next week to buy clothes. So we know that we have $35 already. We know that he's going to earn at least $80. 80 plus 35 is 115. So at least $115 is going to be spent. If I look at my answer choices, answer choice A has me at $45. That one doesn't make any sense. Option 2 is at 115. Option C is at 115. Option D says that I'll spend between $35 and $80. D doesn't make any sense either. So we're looking at either B or C. He said that he is going to, it says that he will spend all of his money. Okay, so he's spending all of his money. He's earning at least $80. Because he will earn more than $80. That means that option B is the correct answer. Because B says we're going to spend $115 or more. We don't know how much more than $80 that he will earn, but he's going to spend it if he has more. So that makes option B the correct answer. Does anyone have any questions about number 25? Make sure that you read the question carefully on your exam. 26. Which of the following inequalities is graphed on the number line? We have an X. We have a 2. Because that's where my point is. Now the question is, first of all, what direction, which value is larger? Is the X larger or is the 2 larger? The 2 is larger because the arrow goes in the negative direction, which says that the 2 would get eaten by our alligator mouth. Okay? Because my circle is open, it's not or equal to, so that's all we've got. X is less than 2. Questions about 26. Number 27. Casey worked no more than 40 hours each week. Which graph best represents the number of hours that Casey worked each week? So everything's at 40. She worked no more than 40 hours. So that means that she could have worked 40, but she didn't work more than that. Okay, so that says that we're going to have an open or a closed circle, so that means we're looking at A or we're looking at D. Option A says that she worked 36 or 37 or 38 hours. D says that she worked between 35 and 40 hours. Our problem doesn't say anything that says she worked no less than 35 hours. So that makes option A the correct answer. Because option A says that she could work any number of hours up to 40, but not more than that. Questions about 27? (28) Which of the following graphs best represents the solution of the inequality below? The first thing that we have to do here is solve the inequality. So the first thing I'm going to do is add 5 to both sides. That leaves me with 2x is greater than 8. I divide both sides by 2. That solution is x is greater than 4. So the only option here that shows x being larger than 4 is option C. Although option D also has our point at 4, that arrow is going in the negative direction, which would say that the 4 is the larger value. That is incorrect. Our correct answer here is C. Questions about 28? Okay. Number 29. Which of the following graphs represents the solution of the inequality below? So, We know automatically that we're going to have to solve. We have subtraction here, which says we have to add 5 to both sides. That says that x is greater than or equal to 9. All of our points here are filled in, so that's not anything that we can use to eliminate. We know that our x is greater than the 9, so we need an arrow going in the more positive direction. I have one solution here at -1. I have one solution at 9. That tells me that our correct answer is D. Questions about 29? Number 30. Which is a true statement about angles 1 and 2 shown below? So I have angle 1 here, I have angle 2 here. These two angles form a straight line, which says that they are supplementary. Complementary angles again mean that the two angles form a right angle when put together. That's a sum of 90 degrees. We don't have that here. Two obtuse angles cannot create a straight line because each of those values has to be greater than 90 degrees. And if you have two things that are greater than 90 degrees, you get more than 180. That does not work with this situation. If both angles were acute, that means that both angles measure less than 90 degrees, which would say you can't have two angles less than 90 degrees equaling 180 degrees. So that answer as well is not going to work. The correct answer is B. Number 31. Which of the following pairs of angles are supplementary? So again, we're looking for two angles that have a sum of 180 degrees. That is option B. Option A. Option A and option C are both complementary. Option D would also work if you wanted to choose that. Okay, so you could have B or you could have D. Questions about 31? On your exam, I'll ask you to choose one of them. You don't have to choose both. Okay, number 32. The diagram below shows angles formed by intersecting lines. Which answer reflects the relationship between angle 2 and angle 3? So angle 2 and angle 3, those are not vertical. We didn't talk about alternate exterior angles. They're not corresponding angles. They are supplementary angles. So option D is the correct answer for 32. Questions about that? Okay. Number 33. A campsite provides a locking rectangular box with the dimensions shown below to secure food from bears. What is the surface area of the box? So for surface area, we created our table. We have the front and the back, the left and the right, the top and the bottom, and the total. All of these shapes are rectangles, so we use the formula length times width for the area of a rectangle. We have a front and a back, so we multiply that times 2. Same thing with the left and the right. I have 2 of them, so I multiply by 2. The top and the bottom, there's 2 of them, so I multiply by 2. Okay. For my front and back, I have 7 feet by a half a foot, so 7 times 1/2 times 2. For my left and my right, I have a half times the 4. Multiply that by 2. And from my top and my bottom, I have 7 times 4 times 2. I'm going to use my associative property, my commutative property to say that I can rearrange things however I like to make the math easier. So I'm going to multiply a half times 2, that gives me 1. 1 times 7 is 7 square feet. Half times 4 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4 square feet. 7 times 4 is 28. 28 times 2 is 56 square feet. Then I add those together for my total. 6 plus 4 is 10. 10 plus 7 is 17. I carry my 1. 5 plus 1 is 6. So my final answer here is 67 square feet. Questions about 33? Did you have a question? Here? A 4. Okay. I'm going to shift over a little bit. Number 34 asks, which of the following is a pair of complementary angles? So complementary angles are two angles that have a sum of 90 degrees. Okay. We have option A, which is acute, and a much smaller acute. Option B has two right angles. Option B has two right angles. If the sum of these two have to equal one right angle, then B does not qualify. Option C, I have an obtuse angle. We can't have any obtuse angles because obtuse is automatically greater than 90 degrees. So it's not going to be option C. Option D, I also have two acute angles. So you kind of have to eyeball it. If I'm eyeballing these two, I'm going to go with option A. If you choose option D on your exam instead, I'll award partial credit but not full credit. Questions about 34. $35. The figure below is a drawing of a circular window in a building. How long is the radius in inches? The problem gave us a diameter. We have to find the radius. The radius is half the distance of the diameter. The radius goes from the midpoint and it extends to the outside of the circle. So we're going to take the diameter is equal to 2 times the radius. Our diameter is 37. That equals 2r. We divide both sides by 2. 37 divided by 2 is 18.5 inches. So the radius of this window is 18.5 inches. Any questions about this problem? Okay. This is the end of the video for page 2. Please check back for the video on page 3.